Hello, everyone. Hello and good afternoon, or maybe good morning, wherever you are based in the world. Welcome to this live stream here with the SAP Community. My name is Svea Becker, and I'm from the SAP Community team. And for me, it's been a long time, and I'm really glad to be back here. And I'm not alone, of course. I have great people with me on board because we want to share today the outcome of the low-code, no-code challenge. And it's not the outcome, it's only about the winners. So we have our winners, Patrizia Rossi, Matheus Branco, and Aocheng Yang here. And together with Daniel Wroblewski from my partner team, the Developer Advocates, we are going to present to you the solutions of the no-code, low-code challenge. So welcome everyone and welcome to the speaker. And I'm glad to hand over to you, Daniel.
Thank you, Svea. Again, I'm Dan Wroblewski. I work for the Developer Advocates, especially for low code and no code. And so to publicize the low code space and particularly AppGyver, just to remind everybody, we created a challenge for everybody. If you can see my screen now, back in May, we had a challenge to ask people to create some sort of app with AppGyver, any kind of app, not just a business app. And there was a lot of response. As you can see, there were 40,000 views of the blog alone, and we got dozens and dozens of entries. And so I'm happy that we have the three winners with us to talk about what they've done. So I want to start with Patrizia Rossi.
Yes, thanks,
How are you?
Daniel. I'm fine. Thanks for this opportunity. Hi to everybody. I am Patrizia Rossi, and I'm an SAP application development team leader at Syscons, an Italian consulting company specialized in digital supply chain solutions. I'm based in Rome, in Italy, and the team spreads all over Italy, for instance, in Milan, Turin, Padua, and Naples.
How big a company is it?
I help our customers in the development and automation area. We are strongly committed to SAP BTP, focusing on low-code, no-code platforms, process automation, SAP Fiori, and mobile application. We have also developed our own methodology to address the SAP modernization process, as well as an holistic approach to improve the business processes, especially the manufacturing one. We like also to suggest the right selection of SAP BTP services to create the unique customer-specific solution.
And so, how did you hear about AppGyver at the beginning? I mean, did you know about perhaps AppGyver before SAP acquired it? But then, how did you hear more about it, and how did you decide to enter the challenge?
I enjoyed the challenge because I think that the topic is really cool and interesting, and for sure in our offering SAP BTP in general, and more specifically the low-code, no-code platform is one of the key enablers. And in addition, I have been an active SAP community member for many years. I organize a couple of SAP Inside Track events and a code jam in Rome. I'm still working with Sergio Ferrari, one of the first Italian SAP mentors, and I'm in touch with several other community contributors and mentors, and I really like I would like to thank all of them for the nice collaboration spirit set in the community.
That's great. Before we get to the AppGyver app that you made, in the community, you're mostly involved in like Fiori apps, UI5 apps, that sort of thing? That's what you're involved in?
I worked a lot with SAP Fiori, and I'm still working on it. So yeah.
That's really great. Okay, so I want to share just a screenshot, but before I share the screenshot, this was the app actually deals with going out into the countryside, and you had a beautiful picture of your dog. Who is this?
In Rome, because I came from Italy, so it is a beautiful park close to my home. Yeah.
And the name of the dog?
Joker.
Joker.
Yeah.
Okay. So make sure to enter the picture in the Pettoberfest part of Devtoberfest as part of Devtoberfest. So
yeah.
make sure to participate. Okay. So okay. This is one of the screenshots from your application. So describe what your application does and how you built it and how you got the idea for it.
Yeah, I built an application to recognize plants from image, and that gives me back tons of information on the plant itself. For example, when and how much water it. And I used a couple of APIs, one for retrieving the name from image, and the other one to get other information about plants. I got the idea because from walking, because when before start my work day, I'm used to go on longer walks with my dog Jogger, and the most of the time I really like the plants and the flowers I see around me, and I try to identify them because I would like to have some of them in my backyard garden. And in addition to the name, I always wondered what should I do to keep them thriving. So from that, I started the development of the application.
And I mean, you've taken it to the countryside, you've identified plants with it.
Yeah, I was really able to identify a lot of plants and flowers. So.
And you go against some sort of AI backend that can identify from a picture?
I used some APIs, and I was sending the image, and the API is able to give me back the information.
Very good. And just one last question, we'll go to Aocheng. The experience of creating the app, how long did it take? Did you find it comfortable?
It was my first times with AppGyver, so I needed to get familiar with the tool. But thanks to a lot of videos and tutorials, I was able to build it in a few days. And I'm used to program using languages as ABAP, JavaScript, and so on. So it was a bit weird to create an application without writing code.
That's great. And that's the prize. You're wearing the hoodie?
Sorry?
Are you wearing the hoodie? The prize that you won?
Yes,
I'm
wearing
it. Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Aocheng, we'll go to you.
Yes.
You hear me?
Hi,
How
Daniel.
are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where do you work?
Okay. I work as a SAP technical consultant, also as a developer. I code also. I'm currently based in, I work in Accenture as a technical consultant, and I'm currently based in Copenhagen office. And what I do at work is to basically support our clients with various SAP requirements, such as system upgrades, system design, implementations, S4 transformation, cloud transformation.
Are you working with any, particularly S4, particularly BTP?
I worked several clients with S4 and also S4 transformation. I also worked with ECC, ERP customers.
Okay.
Recently, we started BTP cloud platform as well in our organization. It's more and more people are, my colleagues and customers are interested in it. So it's a big scope for us.
Very good. So you're very far, it seems, from low code, no code development. Is that right?
Yes. You will think what I did was coding, but after I found out about this no code, low code, it's like a whole new world. So I understand the hustle and time you have to consume, resource you have to consume to develop apps, custom apps, applications, business applications. So when I used AppGyver, it's like what you did in a few months, just you did it in 5 days or something.
Wow. So I mean, you're really considering, you don't have to tell us your plans, but you're considering seriously the use of AppGyver and the other low-code tools, not instead, but alongside the other.
Yes. Personally, I would like to devote more time for AppGyver, to spread AppGyver to my colleagues, my clients, and to see actually AppGyver apps in business productive system that runs day-to-day business for customers. I like to see that one day. Mm-hmm. Also, I'm an ambassador now, so
very
yes.
Good. You sort of have to say it, but seriously, I think there's an understanding that the whole suite is being beefed up, but I think there's expectations that this will be a significant tool for the enterprise.
Yes.
So I'm showing now your entry. I'll ask you to talk about it a little bit, but what the judges thought was particularly cool was just the number of screens there were, the number of services for somebody traveling, also just the thought of all of the things that somebody might need, and how you put it together. So talk a little bit about the app that you created.
Yes, it's all-in-one travel app. So my initial motivation was that I like to travel, and I lived in several places in my life, in several countries in my life. And I wanted that as a motivation and base of this contest. Since I like traveling, but what I realized was when you travel, you have to depend on a lot of resources. You have to Google a lot to different websites to get information, like how much it costs, currency converter, what's the tourist spots here in this town. You have to occasionally use translator. So all these are a bit of everywhere. I want to merge all the resources and information into one platform. So that's how I got the idea, all-in-one travel app.
And how was it to build it with AppGyver? Did you have any struggles with it at all?
The kickstart was really, really fast and smooth. It's drag and drop. You just connect the flows, squares to another square. It was really easy to start with. And I don't think I had a struggle at first. Just had to learn the basic of how to use the interface, the platform, but that wasn't hard at all for me.
Okay, and what made you want to enter this contest? How did you hear about it? What was the thing that said, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to enter"?
Yes. I think it was last year or a few years ago. In my company, it was like a buzzword, like low code, no code. You have to get to know the trend. It was just a buzzword for me also before the contest. So since there was a nice, I came across this challenge, your blog in SAP Community, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity to learn these new capabilities. And I think my company is also very interested in this. So that's why I entered it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I could help you, and we could help you, get more into the low-code space. The application, just to finish about the application, it's kind of a classic application in that there are many APIs there, and you connect to the API and you get this generally basic information, and you have a multiple amount of screens that are related. And so to some extent, this to us was a very classic case of, bringing all this information together. It just happened to be, we just thought it was like taking all these very, very related, like nothing was extra. It was all, yeah, I'm traveling. These are all things that I need. And obviously to you, it may not seem creative, but because these were just naturally things that you needed, but it seemed very creative that, you could have stopped at a map, you could have stopped at a calendar, but then you went to translation, which I thought was very clever, and to connect these APIs and to bring them all together into various pages. We just thought that was really great.
Right.
And very useful, a very
Right.
useful app.
One thing to note is that also I wanted to make that personal. So that's why I added this function to add your events to the calendar, and remember, the app will remember the places you visited. So that's one extra thing I did.
Yeah.
In the app.
I mean, it really had, just to finish this, it really had the feel of not just somebody who had to make an app for somebody else, but really it was an app that you did for yourself. You clearly knew the need, and just expanded it, and it was really and it was very obviously also very visual as well. So let's turn to Matheus.
Hi Daniel, how are you?
Hi, good. I see you have your I don't know if that's the Rode PS1, but I see you have your microphone arm.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell everybody about where you're from and what you do?
Okay. So my name is Matheus. I'm from Brazil. I live in a city called Florianópolis. It's an island here in Brazil. And also have a project that the name is Ikigai Experience. It's a marketplace of experiences. Most of our scuba dive experiences. I don't know if anyone had the experience to scuba diving, so it's really nice. And also we have a web system in WordPress, in no-code tools. I'm not a developer, and AppGyver was a good opportunity to create our app for scuba diver operators.
So before you tell us about the SAP side, so you're a scuba diver? You're a scuba diver?
Yeah.
Scuba diver
Yeah.
instructor?
No, I'm not. I don't know. I'm just entrepreneur.
And but you have a business.
Yeah,
that
I
deals
have a
with scuba diving.
business. Yeah, with scuba diving, but I'm not a teacher.
Okay.
Instructor.
And how do you deal with SAP?
SAP, I don't have any system in SAP, just AppGyver. So all my experience was with AppGyver.
So you were involved in AppGyver before SAP acquired the company.
Yeah.
So that's how you found it. And so let's hear from you about before we get to your app. Let's say AppGyver versus other low-code tools. I mean, why did you gravitate to AppGyver, especially?
I did some research to build mobile apps, and AppGyver one of the top tools to do it. So I liked a lot because there is the API integration that's worked really well. Also the logic, we can build a complex logic with AppGyver. And the part of design was really easy to build our screens. So it was a good choice for us.
Yeah, very good. Okay. Let's get into your app. You mentioned about owning a scuba diving business. So
Yes.
tell us what your app does.
So our app, it's for scuba dive operators. So we have a partnership with the schools here. We don't do the experience, we just a marketplace, but the owners of the schools, they can use the app for manage their own booking. So they can create, they can see the scuba dive experiences, they can edit all the experiences. So it was really simple, just an app with a great design and UX connected with the database to the users.
And are you using it, let's say, productively?
They will. Maybe in 2 or 3 months, they will use it. And we are just testing some stuff. Then we have to take feedbacks of the owners, and it will be in production.
Wow, that's really great.
Yes.
I think one of the things that stood out about the application was the UI. The UI was very clean. Clearly, you had given a lot of thought, design-wise, to the application. I mean, it looked very professional. So that's
cool.
one of the things, and also the usefulness in a real business, real business use case. I think those are the things that impressed people.
Great. Yeah, I did some research before I do the designing screens. So I tried to do a beautiful app because I think it's really important for the users to have a good UI, good UX. So I try a lot to build a beautiful mobile application.
And did you do it? I mean, did you do it all by yourself, this app?
Yeah, yes. I did all by myself. I think it took me 2 weeks to build the app.
Wow.
It was really fast.
And
so
since we're
I think that,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the challenge was a really nice way to learn really fast. So I was trying to learn AppGyver with tutorials, with some features. Then I think of myself, okay, there's this challenge with a deadline. So this is the perfect opportunity to learn fast, and I will be focusing on this.
Oh, that's very interesting. We talk a lot here about, I'm connected to the learning group at SAP, and we talk about, what's good learning and stuff like that. And I had never thought about, having a deadline. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and I just missed it.
Yeah.
But having a deadline, okay, that's a good way to learn, quickly.
Yeah, you don't have a choice.
That's really good.
Just do it.
And in terms of, I also think the UI of the apps, not a lot of talk is given, of the documentation and the training materials about pixel perfect design. Of course it's there, but most people focus on putting some controls in, logic, data access, data update. But the UI is less thought through. So how did you learn how to make the UI, let's call it pixel perfect? How did you learn it? And why did you think it was so important?
I'm not a professional designer, but I have some experience with my other projects. So we already did the Ikigai Experience website. So I had a lot of experience with UI and UX, and I was struggling with that. Then I learned a lot about this. And the basic is you have to do your research, take your references, and take beautiful apps and use that for your own project. So it's not about just your mind or your ideas. You have to do research and try to make something similar to the other projects.
You mean research, how to make a good UI?
No. That's like apps that were built, and you like if you want to create a marketplace, search for a famous marketplace and what they do, how it's designed, what's the UX, so you can do something similar because it already works. So it's the easy way to do it.
Wow, that's really great.
Yes.
So those are the three apps that won. We got dozens and dozens of entries. We had 3 judges. I wasn't involved in the judging, 3 other judges. And these are the 3 apps that we thought were really great. I think Patrizia was about the idea of it and also how it connected with her and her dog. And Aocheng, I mentioned how sort of comprehensive it was. And again, how somebody took an idea that was really important to them and made an application, which I think is part of the whole citizen developer trend, in that, okay, these people are not full-fledged developers, but yet they feel passionate about something. So on that side, they have a great advantage in being able to develop something meaningful. So that's what we saw from Aocheng. And from Matheus, I think we saw clearly a lot of research. The entry had a lot of stuff about how you designed it, and so there was a lot of thought given to it, and it was very professional, and of course will be rolled out in production. So those were the 3 entries that we really liked. Maybe at this point we can sort of just open the discussion. Whoever wants to say something about, we can start with the positive, but we're happy to hear, things that you think might be able to be improved. But how did the
Daniel,
challenge go?
May I interrupt you here?
Sure.
Because before you move forward, there is a question in the chat.
Oh, very good.
And it's to Matheus about his apps. Is this travel app publicly available? I've heard that your company is not yet using it, but will it be publicly available?
About my app or the travel app?
The travel
app?
The travel app, Aocheng.
Sorry, that was Aocheng. Yeah, sure. Sorry for that.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yours, because the question came in while you were talking, Matheus.
Yes.
Unfortunately, this app is intended for the contest, and I didn't. After the contest, I didn't work on it, so it will not be productive, unfortunately. But if there is a business need and funding to it, I'm happy to help whoever is wants to start this business. But yet again, I'm fully employed right now. So, but if you want to use the idea, I'm happy to help, and please contact me in that way.
Cool.
Just to give a preview of some of the things that are going to be talked about AppGyver over Devtoberfest over the next month, without promising any features. They're right now they came out with a sharing ability within BTP to share to collaborate on AppGyver projects. Okay, but that's only in BTP, not in the community edition. But there is plans, and of course I'm not promising anything, to have an import-export function, right? And greater ability to share projects. Again, I don't know if this is going to be in the community edition, but it could be that all of this is to say that there may be the ability to export projects, perhaps put them in GitHub, and to be able to share this stuff. So maybe at some point, unless you see it as proprietary, but if you want to open source it, perhaps you'll be able to export the project and let other people, add on to it.
Nice.
And if you want to hear more about the features being developed for AppGyver, particularly in BTP, but also other areas, feel free to come to Devtoberfest, to the low code, no code sessions. Are there any other questions in the chat?
No, there are not. And I hope this answered the question from Faman. And I also recommend to follow you in SAP Community so you can both connect to each other.
Great. So let's talk in general about the no code challenge. How did it go? How was it to learn about AppGyver? What are some of the things that went well and some of the things that didn't go well? Anybody want to volunteer how the challenge went for them?
For me, it was a little difficult at the beginning about to do the design stuff, design screen, and also to understand the variables in AppGyver, because we have the app variables, we have the page variables. So I was not so familiar with that, but after a few days, a few weeks, I was understanding everything. It was really easy, and I was, okay, it makes sense. Now I can do more complex apps. So it was really easy. And the cool stuff, the API integration was really nice. I already tested the file-based integration. It's good too. And about the logic, I can do a lot of logic and complex logic, so I can do complex apps for business. So it's great. I liked a lot.
How did you, when you were struggling, let's say at the beginning, which learning material did you turn to that was most useful to you?
I tried to do my research in AppGyver forum and also on YouTube. I use a lot YouTube for learn about this no-code tools. So I think I found some videos, but I think in the end I understand by myself, because I have to understand how to do this stuff and how to learn. Just doing, it's easier for me. When I do, I can understand. Did
you post questions in the forum? Did you have communication back and forth?
No, I didn't, because it was really simple questions. So it was for beginners. So it was okay. I understand. I read. I saw a lot of posts, so it's okay. But now I use more the forum for complex questions. It's really useful.
Anybody else?
It was difficult. Just one more thing about the upload for images. It was really difficult for me at the beginning. Then I found some forum posts about this. It helped me.
Great. The community at work.
I'm
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm used to also to manipulating the CSS file, so I had also some difficult to understand how to adapt some controls on the page, for example, buttons and scroll and so on, because I'm used to work on SAP Fiori, and obviously without using code, it was a little bit difficult for me to understand how to do it. So I'm seeing that the other apps are really beautiful graphically. So I don't know if you guys had my same difficult to work on the graphic things.
Yeah, for me, as I said, it was a smooth journey, but some small things were confusing to me, such as some components only works in mobile, some only works in web, and this you don't know. And I don't think I found this limitation in documentation. Maybe I'm wrong, but I wouldn't have known unless I actually run the app and say, oh, why is this not working? And when I searched in the community, it turns out this component doesn't work on mobile, vice versa. So I was like, oh, that's unfortunate. I have to redo my app again. So that was my struggle. But otherwise, I think it was a great platform.
Yeah. In addition, I found just some limitation for the data source for API management, because I was not able to use the API with the multi-part form data. And I didn't find anything in the official documentation. So I don't know if AppGyver doesn't support it, or I didn't find it. I don't know if you had the same issues with the API.
Yes, I think I had this issue. It only accepts JSON and some kind of limitation. I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember reading some things in the forums, and I don't know if there's a workaround or there is a way to do it, but there's, I think, a lot of discussion about that. That's worth to check out. I just don't know it offhand, but I think it's worth checking out the forums. If there was a feature that you could say, I want, you could go to development and say, I wish they had this feature or this component or this flow logic, what feature might you want them to add?
In the last month, I saw that some improvements regarding the collaboration between members of a team, and I think it is really great, because obviously we are used to working in a team, so the application need to be managed by many other developers. So it is a great improvement. And I would add, for example, an integration with SAP Build for creating mockups and for managing the user feedback. And I think another future, it would be nice, the offline coherent with the SAP mobile services.
When you say feedback, whose feedback do you mean?
User feedbacks when you create a mockup. So, yeah.
I totally agree with the collaboration feature. I think it's greatest feature, because I think it's needed, because citizen developer, by definition, I think they have no experience in system developing. So I thought they will probably struggle with data variables, how the API works. By this feature, a citizen developer can work with a pro developer, and pro developer can explain what the API is, and so they have a better ideas of these terms. So citizen developers can work with the pro coder. It's the greatest feature, I think.
Yes, I agree with the collaboration.
Yeah.
And also with more templates and more components for AppGyver, it would be really great if you have more components ready to use, for, I don't know, I want to use for this system, for this marketplace or this e-commerce, but templates ready to use. It would be great.
So components, but also almost like pre-built apps, like they have for
screens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It would be great. Also,
yes, maybe for approver apps, no? Maybe when you have a workflow for approving something, it would be nice to have a template.
That's interesting. I think, I mean, there's three pillars of the low code, no code area, which is AppGyver, process automation, and work zone. And I think there's an attempt against, again, I don't promise anything, but there's an attempt to sort of unify those three tools, both in look and feel, and what they offer, right? The depth of what they offer. So if you look in RPA, which is now part of SAP Process Automation, you'll see that there's SAP Store. So there's a lot of stuff like, you know, I have to have, you know, invoice approval automation or something like that, or sales order creation automation. So you can go to that store and you could say, oh, that looks really good, read about it, and say, okay, now use it as a template, and now create it, and then you can customize it for what you want to do. And I would imagine, again, I don't promise, I can imagine that at some point AppGyver will do a similar thing, to provide these sort of pre-built forms, pre-built apps. And I think also there's been talk about opening up like third-party component creation. So you know, right now I think you can create a component, but there's no way, I think, to monetize it. There's an idea of sort of opening up this you know, the infrastructure, and to let third parties create it. So, you know, I'm in the scuba diving business, and I need scuba diving controls and pages and whatever, and you can create that. So I think there's a movement to fulfill that need that all three of you are talking about. Are there any other things that you would, you know, specific controls, specific navigation, the way it works, look and feel, usability? Anything like that you would want?
It would be great if AppGyver has a backend for itself, because I have to look for a backend outside AppGyver to manage the data. So it would be amazing if AppGyver has all the data and all the create and edit, everything we do with data inside of AppGyver.
All I can say is people have the same idea internally, so I think you might be pleasantly surprised.
Cool.
Let's just talk back. Aocheng, you talked about your company looking into low code, no code. There's this idea of you know, IT departments supporting business users in using these low-code tools like AppGyver and process automation, and setting up sort of a system where people will be able to do what you guys did, but in enterprises for their work. Do you think that could happen? Do you think people day to day, maybe we'll start with Aocheng, because I think you're closest to this idea. You think, you know, hundreds, thousands of people in a big organization will start to build apps, and IT will be able to support them?
I very much think so, and I very much support this idea. I also did some investigation about the pricing. AppGyver currently only it's in BTP, not in the trial account, but only in the enterprise account. Correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel.
Right. And there is no, it's not in trial, and there is no free tier service in BTP at the moment.
Right. And I think it's the pricing model is like the number of user times the unit price or something, I think. So the price is not expensive, I think, personally, for companies. So for testing purpose, just request 10 users, and company will start doing pilot. And I think company will realize how easy it is. company realized we can replace this, use AppGyver to develop business applications instead of conventional framework like ABAP and UI5. I think there's big potential for that. So I very much support this idea, and I think it's gonna happen very soon.
Just to follow up, do you think the audience for AppGyver will be business users, or will also, or instead, or also be, traditional SAP developers?
I think both. Both will be the target audience. Because it's easy to use, so I think anybody can start with AppGyver.
Patrizia, you have any thoughts about this?
I think that the citizen developers will really enjoy AppGyver, but to do so, the IT has an important role to play. Governance, first of all, for both application and API or data. A center for enablement that will guide them through the process of which service or API call, monitoring, running applications, guarantee also a life cycle to the application, and eventually decommission them. So I think the citizen will really enjoy the AppGyver.
I agree, but that's a little bit of work for IT to set up. I mean, in the long term, maybe not a lot of work, but it seems like it'll take a little bit of somebody to push it, right?
Yeah, I mean, the IT needs to help, no? Especially on the API side. So.
Okay.
Right. Sorry, I agree with that point. The integration.
Go ahead. What were you saying? Oh, did we lose Aocheng?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Matthias. Matthias, did you want to say something?
Sorry. I would ask about for you now, what's the plans for AppGyver? It's for more for SAP systems and the business workers that work in SAP, or it's for more, I don't know, innovation or entrepreneurship, or doing some stuff, some projects for everyone, what's the focus?
Who's the target for AppGyver?
Who's the target? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, all of I mean, this is the messaging that you'll see. Yes. And of course, I believe the messaging is that I think the idea is to enable sort of regular people in an enterprise, not just developers. Partly because we have the ability and we have the tools now to let them do it. There's a lot of talk about, a shortage of IT people. So this will, I don't really like that talk as much, but, practically speaking, people talk about that. So I think the idea is to enable the business user who's closer to the problem that needs to be solved, to be able to do this by themselves, or to at least start it, and to be enabled by IT. As Patrizia said about, governance, availability of APIs, all kinds of things. Of course, deployment. I think, like with anything, you start with an idea or a market, and you see that there's also a greater market, or there's also other people who want to use it. So I think because SAP is a technology company and a lot of developers follow everything that they do, and their audience is often developers, that developers, as opposed to business users, also are interested. They're just interested in technology, in the ability to use these things, and also the ability that these things will save them time, right? And be able to do certain things. Also, let's say back-end developers who are not front-end developers will say, okay, I don't want to now learn a front-end system. So I'm going to use AppGyver as sort of my front end, and I'm going to continue to be the expert at the back end. So that's another kind of audience there is. So I think you know, SAP will the bread and butter, or the hope is that the business user is the main focus, but I think developers will also want to use it, benefit from it, and SAP will enable them as well. Anyway, that's just my point of view.
Yes.
Okay, and maybe the last question that I have is just, are there any applications, now that you've used AppGyver, are there any applications that you're thinking that you can tell us about, if it's not private, that you think would be interesting to create using AppGyver or the other tools? Or you're thinking about?
With my colleagues, we are planning to build an application to decide in which restaurant to go during lunchtime. Yeah,
that's always good. At SAP, you know, we have a portal with all this information, but there's the lunch menu app, and
yeah.
it's always there, and it's like, you know, and it's localized, so wherever you are, you get the menu for the local area. That's always very popular.
I want to create more complex projects, like a full marketplace and e-commerce projects. So it's my goal now, is to learn how to do that.
For your own business, the e-commerce?
Yeah, but my business has already have a marketplace behind. AppGyver just the front end for mobile. So I have other business ideas that I want to create and do everything just in AppGyver. That's why I'm talking about the backend and database, everything. Okay,
stay tuned. Aocheng, you have any more ideas, since people already like this one?
Thanks a lot. My main focus will be to deliver the AppGyver to our clients, and to see it running the business, day-to-day business with the applications. That's my work-related mission. Mm-hmm. Personally, I just created a simple movie database for my family. It was nothing special, just connecting with Firebase, and stores the movies and the rating of it, when the date we watched it, for family use.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Nice.
That's about it. Yes.
And all three of you, everybody is jealous of you because you have the hoodie in your office? No, not so much.
No.
Well, anyway, thank you for coming and sharing your experiences. Thank you for participating in the challenge.
Thank you too.
Thanks to
you. To be here.
Much appreciated.
Thank you for the hoodie too.
Yeah. Before you're going to leave, stay tuned. I have also this hoodie. I'm not a citizen developer, of course, but I do really often live streams with the local no-code team. So that's really cool. I can be part of it. And there is another question in the chat, but I think that's more for Daniel to answer. Dario's asking, will the composer be available in the future or only BTP? The actual customers will have to switch?
Oh, I've heard nothing to that effect. And I can't imagine they would not allow, not continue to support the community edition, which is what I assume you mean. Again, you know, I don't have any particular inside knowledge, but there's an enormous community, there's an enormous forum, it's a tremendous success. You know, I'm sure that will continue for many years.
Yeah, so check out all these forums and especially the low-code, no-code topic page where you can follow the tag and you will get notifications once there is new updates, new content. So this is something you should check out. And the link is, of course, in the chat, as well as the links to our speakers. So follow them. That's important. And I think from the content wise, it's kind of all said. But I wanted to mention that your blog post where you announced the challenge in May, I think it was, just went through the roof, I think. So we had more than 50,000 views and more than 50 likes and comments. So this is really impressive. And I hope you plan something else next year, maybe, Daniel?
Oh, I guess the biggest reward for doing something well is more work. But yes, I will plan on doing something, and I think we have a lot of things in discussion. So look out for additional challenges. And of course, right now, participate in Devtoberfest, and there are many sessions dealing with low code, no code. October 13th is specifically for AppGyver, and there's a half dozen sessions that I think will be quite interesting. So participate in Devtoberfest.
Yeah, and of course, I've also shared the link to the Devtoberfest group here in the chat. So join that group and you won't miss anything about it. And there is one more question. I think we have time for this one. To you, Daniel, as well, from Fata. How so you think that we can push the IT team to further support no-code teams and no-code initiatives of consultants working for an SAP partner? Is something you can answer?
I'm not exactly sure what the question is. I'm not sure that I'm qualified. I think there's probably more work that needs to be done to create best practices, to set up this sort of partnership between IT and business users, and to encourage it, and to provide tools for IT to have, change management and all the things that need to happen in a big company. From the releases I see and the public statements that are made, this is the direction that SAP will go, and I'm sure they'll provide assistance in the future. Again, caveat, I don't promise anything, but that seems to be the direction that we're going.
And the AppGyver team is also on the call and in the chat, so you may also reach out to those people so they can maybe give you answers to your questions. So that having been said, thanks so much everyone for having been part of this SAP Community Call series. I think it was a cool, really cool, interesting call. We have also a lot of feedback about it. So keep on going, working with the app, try to figure it out. Also, a big thanks to you, Daniel, for doing the moderation. And yeah, I wish everyone a great rest of the day, and I hope to see you in one of the next calls. So follow us in SAP Community.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.